The waters of Kepler 442b shimmered like liquid mercury under the twin suns, casting dancing reflections across the research station's observation deck. Ethan Cole adjusted his diving suit's oxygen regulator, running through the pre-dive checklist for the third time that morning. 6 months on this alien world, and he still hadn't grown accustomed to the eerie beauty of its crimson oceans. "You sure about this, Cole?" Dr. Martinez's voice crackled through the comm system. "The currents are unpredictable today." Ethan glanced at the monitoring screens displaying swirling patterns in the water below. "Sample collection won't do itself, Doc. Besides, I've handled worse back on Europa." He sealed his helmet and stepped toward the airlock, but a sudden alert froze him in place. The proximity sensors were going haywire. Something large was moving erratically in the water directly beneath the platform, something biological. Through the observation window, Ethan spotted it, a creature thrashing violently against the current, its spotted coat flickering between bioluminescent blues and desperate reds. It resembled a leopard from Earth, but larger, with 6 powerful limbs and an elongated body built for aquatic life. One of the indigenous Saren species the team had only observed from a distance. "It's caught in something," Ethan muttered, his trained eye spotting the metallic glint of debris wrapped around the creature's torso, probably wreckage from the old survey drone that crashed last month. "Cole, don't even think about it," Martinez warned. "We don't know how they react to human contact. It could be dangerous." But Ethan was already in the airlock, his heart pounding with that familiar mixture of fear and determination that had defined his career as a rescue diver. The Saren's movements were growing weaker, its bioluminescence fading to a sickly gray. The water enveloped him like a cold embrace as he dropped into the alien ocean. The suit's thrusters engaged, propelling him toward the struggling creature. Up close, Saren was magnificent. Each spot on its fur seemed to contain entire galaxies of light, pulsing with what Ethan could only interpret as pain. The creature's large, intelligent eyes locked onto him. Instead of the expected aggression, Ethan saw something that transcended species. Desperation, and perhaps recognition of intent. "Easy there," he whispered, knowing the creature couldn't understand but hoping his tone conveyed reassurance. He pulled out his plasma cutter, carefully positioning himself to avoid the Saren's powerful limbs. The debris was worse than he'd thought. Jagged metal had torn into the creature's side, and it was wrapped so tightly that every movement caused more damage. Ethan worked methodically, cutting away piece by piece while the Saren remained eerily still, as if understanding that this strange alien was trying to help. The last piece of metal fell away, spiraling into the depths below. But instead of swimming away to safety, Saren did something unexpected. The creature moved closer to Ethan, pressing something against his chest with one of its front limbs. Ethan's blood ran cold, cradled against the Saren's chest. Protected even while drowning was a smaller version of itself, a juvenile, barely the size of Ethan's arm. The infant's bioluminescence was almost entirely dark, its breathing shallow and irregular. It wasn't just debris that had been weighing Saren down. The creature had been trying to keep its offspring at the surface, sacrificing its own ability to swim properly to give the little one access to oxygen-rich water. "Oh God," Ethan breathed, his hands trembling as he understood. "You weren't drowning. You were saving your baby." But the revelation brought a new horror. The juvenile's gills weren't moving properly. There was damage there too, likely from the same debris. If Ethan didn't act now, both Saren would die, and any trust between their species would be lost before it could begin. His mind raced. The research station had xenobiological medical facilities, but could he convince Saren to trust him that far? Could he even get them both to the surface in time? Saren made the decision for him. With a movement that seemed to require every ounce of remaining strength, the creature pushed the juvenile fully into Ethan's arms, then used its body to boost him upward. The message was clear: save the child. "No," Ethan said firmly, grabbing onto Saren's harness-like natural armor with his free hand. "We're all going up. Hold on." He activated his emergency ascent system, designed for extracting marine samples but never tested with live cargo of this size. The thrusters screamed in protest as they fought against the weight of 2 alien beings and the ocean's pull. Ethan wrapped his arm securely around the juvenile, pressing it against his chest while maintaining his grip on Saren. The surface seemed impossibly far away. His suit's alerts were blaring about oxygen consumption, structural stress, and a dozen other warnings he couldn't afford to acknowledge. Saren's bioluminescence was nearly gone, its eyes beginning to glaze over. "Stay with me," Ethan urged through gritted teeth. "Your baby needs you." "Stay with me." They broke the surface in an explosion of crimson water. The platform's emergency retrieval system locked onto Ethan's beacon, mechanical arms extending to pull them aboard. Within seconds, the xenobiology team swarmed them, Dr. Martinez barking orders while medics worked on both Saren creatures simultaneously. Ethan collapsed against the deck, his suit reporting critical systems failures across the board. Through blurry vision, he watched the medical team work their miracles. The juvenile's gills began moving, its spots flickering with faint light. Saren's eyes cleared, fixed on its offspring with unmistakable relief. Then those ancient, intelligent eyes turned to Ethan. The creature moved slowly, still weak, but deliberate. It touched its forehead to Ethan's helmet in a gesture that needed no translation. Dr. Martinez knelt beside him, her expression a mixture of awe and disbelief. "Cole, do you understand what you just did?" First contact protocols suggest sometimes protocols matter less than doing what's right, Ethan interrupted softly, watching as Saren curled protectively around its recovering juvenile. Any parent would have done the same. Any decent being would have helped. As the twin suns set over Kepler 442b, bathing the deck in golden light, a new understanding was born between two species, not through careful diplomatic channels or planned first contact scenarios, but through the universal language of compassion and the simple act of one being refusing to let another drown while holding what mattered most. The stars, Ethan thought as exhaustion finally claimed him, were full of wonders. But perhaps the greatest wonder was discovering that humanity's capacity for empathy could bridge even the vast distances between worlds.